It's a completely gamble. Refer sellers $10 depends on getting trouble lessons.
Stop it. Get some help.
What's up guys, Steven Dexter. Welcome to my new video lessons of the week. And today I want to talk about there's lots of manipulations in the market, and I want to go over some of the key factors, how they do it, and according to my analysis from this market. So let's go over a couple. There's many things now I need to go over. AWX, MTSL, GBR. So those three tickers are basically manipulated by the same guy, and he basically bought the entire float because all of those three tickers are in micro float. If you bought the entire float, then there's 200-300k naked shorts, and they're stepping on each other of this one guy that have all the shares. That's why all the crazy squeezes happened. Something like break the historical volume, trading more volume than used to, and massive supernova comes in. Then if he decides to dump, all the chasers lost money. So all retail traders lost money. I would say GBR, MTSL, now AWX. And I mentioned that there's a couple key factors that, especially on GBR, because since it's a micro float, if the float starts rotating, the individual resistance does not apply to super micro float. If they rotate for 10 times, 5 times, it can be really dangerous for the stock breaks the priority high. And GBR did exactly the same thing. And yes, there is a volume block, but that is a chance for these big guys to size in into that volume block. Once the resistance breaks, they can have a massive short squeeze, then they can sell into the strength. So that is the danger of shorting multiple rotate floating stocks, and if they're super micro float. And that is one of the factors. Individual resistance does not work in this one specific situations. They all did the same thing. I think MTSL did the same method, micro float, start float rotation, break the priority high, went all the way to 6 and dumped it all the way down, and also dumped it on the dip buyers. People lost a lot of money on those two tickers. AWX as well, they pretend they did a momentum shift into the 8th, dropped to the 6th, had a Friday afternoon squeeze all the way to $36. As you can see, AWX did not trade that much volume because in the recent market, the regular volume is right about 20 million to 30 million on all the tickers. And AWX did not trade that much volume. And the panic volume is not that big. So it is very easy to manipulate. Since the volume is so low, it doesn't take that much money, or it doesn't take that much shares to buy to break this resistance zone. And that's exactly where it happened. People sizing in the correct timing. They know where short sellers wants to short, and they soak into that volume, then they squeeze them out of the gate. AWX, GBR, MTSL took a lot of short sellers out of the game. I think I took a decent gain on GBR. I did not catch MTSL. I didn't even try to pretend to dip buy it. Nothing's completely dead, fully manipulation. AWX, I found shares to short, but there's nothing for me to short on. At least GBR has some kind of volume or resistance for me to risk off. AWX is all super thin volume, no resistance at all, just pure dumping, pure manipulations, and just massive selling off. You can't really guess if they're selling or not, because if there's no resistance, they don't have attempt to either sell or hold. Because if there is a resistance, it'll be really hard. It will take extra money to make them manipulate to higher highs. But in AWX, what happens if it goes to 50? What happens if it goes to 90? You can't really predict if there is no resistance zones at all. They can choose not to sell, they can choose to sell. So shorting yesterday on AWX, it is a completely gamble, but if you shorted it, you're lucky and you won 50% of your entire investment. And today, looks like they keep selling off. Same thing with HMNY. HMNY is a little bit different. Company ran out of money and massive downtrend, and they're probably going to do another reverse splits again to keep selling off. But the key is, if you see the consistent downtrend for a while. When it starts to squeeze, that is become the massive disasters for short sellers, because you can't really find a volume block or any resistance in the chart. Yes, it might be in the 7s or in the 10s, but there's no really volume traded. Look at the volume traded right here, 2.4 million. Volume traded here, nothing. If there's no volume, that means there's not much people are holding the stock, which means when the squeeze happens, it's gonna squeeze a lot higher than we think. Now, same thing happened on LFIN, DRYS. So be a short seller. Don't be too aggressive. Once you become too aggressive, you get into that habit that just keep shorting. Then eventually you're gonna meet one of those, either LFIN or DRYS, massive squeeze and took you out of the game. So if there's no pattern, don't trade, even though you know you're going to win. But in a long run, you're practicing bad habits. If you have bad habits in the stock market, you will lose. You will eventually lose. It doesn't matter how much money you win, but you're gonna meet that one specific and you're gonna lose your money. So trade something with the edge. Don't trade something based on luck or based on what you think, because that doesn't really apply to the stock market if you want to invest into this game for a long run. So that is my thought process on HMNY, AWX, and MTSL. Also on GBR, in my opinion, I think it's testing into that volume block around $3, testing some in the 5 or 6 and sold into the 10. So I think they made around $5 million on that one specific dump. AWX, I don't really know how much they made, but I would guess you start selling to the 15. Their average probably around, I'll say volume block right here, volume block right here. So 3, 4, 5. So their average probably around $5 or $6 selling to the 15s. Yesterday there's not much volume, so probably average sale will be around 10. Then if they have 2 million shares, they probably made $10 million or $8 to $10 million on AWX. Plus MTSL, probably they made around $20 million roughly. All those manipulations. That is just my personal guess. Will depends on filing on tomorrow. Let's see if I'm right. Other than that, please be careful in this market. There's too much manipulation going on. I'm sure this guy will eventually get caught and personally manipulating the stock. That company has no aware of this guy manipulating it. So eventually he'll get in trouble. But as a retail trader, they are not going to give your money back. So as a retail trader, you have to be extra careful to be able to survive in this market. And I hope this lesson helps. If you made money, great, congratulations. If you lost money, take this as a lesson, and I'll be seeing you guys next video lesson. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great day.